Hello YouTube, it's your boy the Passport Bro Wingman coming at you again with another YouTube video. And video is a continuation of my previous video, which was called um, All Passport Bros Need to Visit These Top 10 Countries, Especially Black Men. And I wanted to continue because the video was getting pretty long, and I was going, I wanted to go in detail on some of the countries and that kind of thing. So I'm going to kind of continue where I left off. And so this is the part two of the two video. So we ended the last video on the number 5 country that I believe that Passport Bros should visit. I listed number 5 as the Dominican Republic. Now the other thing about this country, I'm just going to briefly talk about it because I'm going to go on to the next country as well, which is I'll tell you what that is in a second. But the DR is very close with some of these top 4 countries, and I'm going to go into detail as of why DR didn't make top 4 or why these countries kind of beat them out as well. So anyway, without further ado, I say that number 4 on this list is Brazil. Now, Brazil, and just to give you some background, when I went to Brazil, I mainly went to Rio. I didn't get a chance to go to Sao Paulo, and also a lot of Passport Bros that you hear about, especially a lot of black men in general, they tend to go to Bahia, Brazil. That's because they have a large like African Brazilian population there, and you will find out that a lot of black men have had ton of success in that region. Also, the Hala men, um, right now, who's one of the faces of like the Passport Bros right now. They're living in Brazil. Him, and also there's another YouTuber by the name of Vibe and Fred. And he's also has a channel which he talks a lot about Bahia, Brazil. So I definitely would say if you're in Brazil, and especially if you're a chocolate lover, definitely go down to Bahia, Brazil. If what I've seen, you have like a wonderful time there. Me myself, I can only speak about my visit to Rio, and talk a little bit about that, and then also kind of discuss why I kind of put that ahead of DR. So one of the reasons why I listed Brazil's number 4 instead of DR was, for one, in the DR, you tend to only get one type of, as far as like phenotype, mostly brown skin, dark skin type of women. But the thing about Brazil, it's kind of like a you get all types of flavors there, from very very, I'm gonna say, very light skin, almost pale, women who, for the most part, a lot of them can kind of even pass for white. You get that type of Brazilian woman there, all the way to the guys who are like myself. I like a little bit of both. I like vanilla and chocolate as well. But if you're a real like chocolate lover, you can get a little bit of that as well in Brazil. The good thing about Brazil, is that there's a variety versus in the DR. You don't get that much of a variety, and then the few times you do run into some girls who are maybe lighter skin, um, in my opinion, they tend to be like what's the word? The value is, for in my opinion, uh the value for them is going to be a little bit higher there. So what I'm going to say is you have to put in like a little bit more work to deal with them. As some people have said before, when you're in the DR, and typically the lighter skinned ones, you're going to find a lot of them are not necessarily from Dominican Republic. But nevertheless, one of the rules that a lot of Pastor Bros in the past have said is that, for example, when you go to Russia, you should be dating Russian women. You go to China, you should be dating, it's best to date, the Chinese women there. You're in Thailand, date the Thai women. And, when you're in Brazil, you're going to, date Brazilians. The reason for that is, perfect example of this is, if you ever do go to Thailand, you will notice that in some parts of Thailand, there actually are Russian women there. And I want you to know, when you deal with the Russian women there, since they're like such a small population there, um, you're going to notice that you get a little bit more feedback for them, as far as if you're a cold approach guy. And if you're a guy who deals with the P for P, you're going to notice that, as far as your time spent with them, pricing, that kind of thing, you're going to notice it's a little bit higher than, let's say, if you went to even Amsterdam or Germany or Ukraine. You're going to notice that it's a little bit different. And if you think about a supply and demand, it's not that many of them, so they can, for that reason, demand that price. That being said, when you go to DR, and you generally will see some of the fairer skin Dominicans there, a lot of them probably are like mixed, that kind of thing. You're going to notice that you get a little bit more feedback. You got to put like a little bit more work in. Not that you will have any issue, but my thing is this: when I left the USA, which is the matrix, why would you leave a difficult dating market where women are extra picky and then go to another market and deal with women who are extra picky? I'm not saying that we as men want easy women, but what I am saying is that when you're on vacation, I don't really see the point. The whole point of doing the Passport Bros thing in general was to go to a market where there's a fair exchange as far as supply and demand. And also you can tap into a market which previously in the US would have been, you had to struggle to even get, a little bit of it. You know what I mean? So my whole thing is that we wanted to go to a place where the women are a little bit more feminine, submissive, that kind of thing. So I don't really see the point of going there only to deal with someone that's a little bit more picky. So my thing is, if you do like more like on the vanilla, or that's the biggest thing. If you do like a little bit more vanilla, I personally would say you probably better off shooting towards Brazil, even Colombia, or like I said before, Ukraine, that kind of thing. And you'll see. I assure you, if you visit the DR, deal with some of the women there, and then you go deal with some of the women in Ukraine as far as like the lighter skin, you will definitely see like a difference. And the way in the way that the feedback you get from cold approach, and also dealing with them in general. So that's my whole take on that. But that's also why I said Brazil, I rated it a little bit higher, because the good thing about Brazil is that you do have Brazilians of all types of colors, very mixed group. Like I said, if you like Brazilians that can pass for white with blonde hair, that kind of thing, blue eyes, green eyes, they got them there. If you're a guy who's more to like, you like the women that look a little bit more on indigenous, very brown, copper color skin, the curly hair, that kind of thing, they have that there as well. If you like the one, the Latin women that have a little bit of look, almost like the Asian type look, they have those there. If you're, like I said, you're a guy who likes women have a little bit more of a tan, you even like chocolate, that kind of thing, they have those Brazilians there. So that's the main reason I listed it. Um, Other thing is, what you're gonna find out, if you are a P for P guy, you like doing P for P, like in DR, you're gonna find out it's significantly a better market in Brazil. I mean, significantly, and the type of women you can kind of deal with, you're gonna be so surprised. They look like models, very feminine, and to put it to you without being too explicit, uh, they tend to be a little bit more. What's the word? They have less hangups and less inhibitions than I would say some of the girls in Costa Rica, or DR is not too bad either. But put it this way, this is a common saying that's amongst some of the Passport Bros, especially and I believe the YouTuber name was Taylor Made. He made this a comparison, and I kind of agree with what he said. Is when you go to Colombia, what you're gonna find out is that the girls there very friendly, feminine, and when they see you, you see them. Whether it's cold approach, P for P, you'll notice that they, they want, especially they want you to approach, they'll smile. They'll see you, you'll see them from a distance. They'll give you choosing signals, that kind of thing. When you approach, they're very warm and open. So for the most part, what they're saying is that, to put it this way, you're sitting at the table. When they come approach you, they'll come and sit down next to you, and they'll smile and they'll talk to you. In Brazil, it's even further than that. Um, if you were to deal with put it this way, if you deal with P for P versus the women coming out at the table and sitting next to you, they'll actually just come and sit in your lap. So what I'm trying to say is that they're a little bit more uninhibited than some of the other women in Latin America. Some of the most they have, as I said before, very. I hate, I'll say this: more sexual, more openly sexual, as far as, not that they're 304s. I mean, and just walking out. What I mean is that they're very open to your desires and pleasing their man. Sex is not a big deal as it is in the United States. The only reason I say that is because what you're going to notice when you talk to a lot of foreigners, they tend to say that Americans, we tend to be a bit prudish. So what I'm saying is that Brazilians tend to be almost on the opposite scale. They, in a bedroom, you're going to be surprised, very pleased. If you find a nice Brazilian, wife, girlfriend, you're going to definitely be a happy man. Versus some of the men in the U.S., with all these sexless marriages and that kind of thing, you definitely, for the most part, you won't have that issue with the women in Brazil and the women in Colombia for that matter as well. It's just that the Brazilians take it to a whole nother level. That's why I rated it higher than DR, because not only are the women more uninhibited than in DR, but as far as if you are a P for P guy, pricing is great. And also if you're a guy who likes the cold approach as well, the women there, you're going to be surprised. Women, like I said, blue eyes, blonde hair, model looking, very sweet, very kind. In fact, when I was on my plane, actually, there, I actually sat next to a Brazilian woman. We had a conversation almost, I'm gonna say almost like half the flight. Felt very comfortable, almost like I had known it since I was young. You'll be surprised how easy it is to talk up, the sort of a conversation with a Brazilian woman, even whether they're darker or lighter skin. Me personally, I didn't feel a lot of. I have heard about some types of racism previously being in Brazil, because I believe Brazil was one of the last countries to get rid of slavery. But in spite of that, whole lot better than the United States, whole lot better than some of these Western countries. I had no issues at all. None of the people there, including some of the lighter skinned people, treat me any. I didn't feel any shade. I didn't feel any racism. I'm not saying that it does not happen there. I saw some cases on YouTube about some borderline racism there. So I'm not going to tell you that it does not exist, but I would tell you that in no way, shape, or form did I ever feel discriminated against or that kind of thing. And I don't believe you will either. Not to say that every single country, I'm sure there's a little a little small, tiny population here or there, but it's nowhere on the level as you will find out in Argentina, which there's a lot of hear about a lot of like racism there in Argentina, which is why Argentina is not listed on this list, and you rarely hear passport bros, especially black men, talking about visiting Argentina, because there is a bit of racism there. So, in general, I would prefer a person to go to Brazil over Argentina if you're considering going down south into South America. And only con to Brazil, I would say, is the plane trip is pretty long. Pretty much gonna have to get on two different plane trips. I had to pretty much spend a day doing the plane trips. Also the cost of the plane trip is higher than it is going to the DR, Colombia, Costa Rica. It's much higher. I'm talking like almost, I think, $700, $800, something like that. Versus a ticket to DR, you can probably get a ticket for about maybe like $300, something like that, depending if you're like in Florida. Maybe if you're like in more north of the USA, might cost you about maybe like $500, something like that. But it's significantly higher than some of the other countries. But well worth the travel. You put it away. You have to go. That's why I listed it as number 4. If you can't visit that many countries, please at least visit these 5 countries I've listed. The top 5 on this top 10 list, with number 5 being the DR, number 4 being Brazil. Please visit that country. You will not regret it. The only other con as well is that I would say versus in DR, um, you tend to see a lot of the attractive women walking like everywhere. There's stores or walking around, that kind of thing. What you will find out in Brazil, a lot of the locals, they don't necessarily walk around in a tourist area. They have like their own little beach that they attend to. So a lot of times when you get your hotel, you're going to be walking around. You're not going to see a lot of the type of women that you would see like on YouTube, that kind of thing. You're going to have to actually either go to the clubs or go to the beaches and regions where a lot of the locals are. That's the only way you're going to see like a lot of the women that you see like in the bikinis are looking bad. Now in the area where I was at where the beach was, which was on the Copacabana, there were like some, decent women there, but not like a lot of the ones I used to see like on YouTube, and I see guys in Brazil, that kind of thing. Because a lot of them tend to be more in the local area, also the favelas. And I've seen a lot of pastor bros going to the favelas. In general, I was told to avoid those areas. I personally didn't go for that reason, because I heard unfortunately, so many bad things. And plus, I heard in general, about the crime there being a little bit worse than some of these other countries that I've listed. In fact, I want to say Brazil kind of the crime there is kind of similar to maybe in the DR, because we've been hearing that the DR has been getting pretty dangerous as well. But either way, as I said before, stay safe. I stayed in a tourist area. Didn't have any problem. Approached several girls at the malls, on the beaches. Like I said, very friendly, very easy to approach. As far as using the apps, I didn't have much success, but I do know some guys that have had some success using Tinder, that kind of thing. It's more so, in my opinion, a cold approach type of environment, which I would say slightly the DR is a little bit better. But as far as the good thing about the DR, you can actually use the app to meet a lot of the women, but not so much in Brazil, in my personal experience. So number 5 is Dominican Republic. Number 4 is Brazil. And now we're gonna get kind of deep into these countries. So number 3 I listed as Thailand. I listed Thailand. Now, good thing about Thailand is, in my personal opinion, very, very, very safe, very, very safe. And the women are very, very easy to approach and talk to. In my personal opinion, the Thai women and Filipino women are some of the easiest women to cold approach. Some of the most friendly and heartwarming women, as far as put it this way, generally when you approach them, they're going to be very, very shy. Not all of them, but a lot of them, they're very shy when you approach them, and they tend to be very, very polite. And I say that to say that that's what I meant by hard women. Not that the women in these other countries, Colombia, Brazil, are mean spirited. No, they're all these women. Every country I listed on here has very feminine, submissive, polite women, but the women in Thailand and the Philippines, it's like a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level. Um, it's a whole nother level. So what I'm trying to say is that if you're a guy who's in the United States, you've been cold approaching women, you've been going to bars, that kind of thing, getting shot down, and let's say like your self-esteem is kind of down. This is why I listed this very high. I actually would prefer you to go to these countries, to Southeast Asia first, just so you can kind of get out of that USA matrix mentality of women constantly telling you what you have is not enough. You're not enough. You're not handsome enough. You don't have enough money. You're not tall enough. That kind of thing. On a daily basis, United States, with all the man-hating films, all the rhetoric on YouTube from like some of the American women, all these television shows telling you that you're not enough. When you come out of the USA, or even the West, even my UK brothers and Canadian brothers, I want you to kind of leave all that culture, all that thinking behind, and as they say, empty your cup. Instead of having your cup full, empty your cup out. And I want you to, when you go into Thailand, the Philippines, I want you to completely just leave all that behind, and almost start fresh, and just go out and start cold approaching some women. You're gonna be surprised at your success rate. You're gonna be surprised at your success rate. Even the women that turn you down, very, very polite. It's nothing like in the West where you approach women. She might suck her teeth, or she might jump back like, why is he, or say like, or go like, or say, or they might you might even find some women sometimes want to like, oh, why are you approaching me? Leave me alone. All types of all types of negative feedback sometimes in the States. Not, of course, not all women, but it's completely different. I mean, and put it this way, if you can deal with the feedback you get from women in the West, cold approaching women in Thailand and the Philippines is gonna be piece of cake, piece of cake, piece of cake. You can almost do it in your sleep. Um, and again, we're not saying that, obviously in every country, all the women are going to say yes, but even the ones that don't, you're going to be so surprised at how polite they are when you approach them. And even when they turn you down, you're going to be surprised at how polite they are. You're not going to feel intimidated, surprised, that kind of thing. In addition to that, Thailand is very, very safe. I actually went to Bangkok, and I would walk around late at night, sometimes 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Once I even did like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was out there on the street. I was on the street. I never felt unsafe. You'll see they have like these people that are out late at night selling things, everything, souvenirs, bootleg DVDs, underwear, shirts, shoes, everything across the strip late at night. People are out there. It's like almost like a little flea market there. So you have people out all types of night. There's all types of restaurants there. Our dollar is very good against the baht, which is their currency, the baht. The US dollar is killing it there. It's killing it there, man. Like I got like a almost like a 5-star hotel, like $30. Meals were very cheap there. They have very, very good food. I was right in the area where there was like a mall there. I was able to eat at the mall every day, walk around there. Um, I pretty much approached a lot of the waitresses, a lot of the women that was working at McDonald's. You'd be surprised. A lot of very, very cute women, very, very polite, very easy to talk to them, very easy to get, to approach the women, get their number. Um, uh, I didn't at that time. I didn't really use Tinder. There actually was another app that they use in Thailand that you can use, but I'm just telling you, just off the rip, I promise you, when you go there, you almost don't need the app. You don't really need the app because the women there are so friendly and feminine. I personally feel that when you actually get there and you start talking to some of the women, even like the customer service women, or like even the women who work at your hotel, when you see their presence and how friendly they are, I don't think you're gonna have any issue walking up to a woman, approaching them, and getting their number. They even have like little nightclubs there where some of the students, like the college students, go and that kind of thing. You can talk to some of the women there. I mostly talked to a lot of the women that worked in some of the restaurants. Like as I told you before, the women in the mall. There was like some restaurants there, and also there was a McDonald's close by. I used to flirt with some of the some of the cashiers there. Like I said, very, very easy, very, very polite. You should have no problem getting any dates. I had plenty of dates when I was there. There's also, as I said before, the good thing about Bangkok, even Pattaya, very good P for P if you like to do that. I dipped and dabbed in a little, I was dipping and dabbing a little bit of both. Perfect for you to go there. Um, there's a guy named Zoom for Thailand. If you want to learn more about Thailand, you definitely should subscribe to his channel, Zoom for Thailand. I believe he's married a woman there, and she cooks and cleans for him. You'll be surprised how well they take care of you. Um, it's a perfect fit for Western men who are having problems in their state. Please, please, definitely, if you have the money, the only con to Thailand is the plane trip. To me, is really the plane trip. You have to spend almost like a whole day traveling. Um, and it's just a long flight. That's like, and another thing is the ticket is pretty high, sometimes almost like $1,000, that kind of thing. So if you can afford the ticket and you can bear through the plane trip, I definitely would say Thailand should be one of your top countries, which is why I listed it in the top three. I don't want to keep this video long, so I'm gonna keep it moving. Also now, this next country, so Thailand is number three. Number two, I listed as the Philippines. I listed the Philippines. Um, Now here's the thing: I have never been to the Philippines. However, just for talking for other passport bros, and even myself, just dealing with a few Filipinos in the states, my personal opinion is very similar country to Thailand. Now, why would I put this on a list even though I have not visited there? It's because I've heard so many good stories. There's also a lot of women who get married to a lot of like older men. Recently, there's a guy named Jerry on Zoom for Thailand. He's 79 years old. 79. 79. And actually, I take it back. He might be in Thailand. But either way, I take it back. He's in Thailand. He was 79 years old. He married he's dating a girl that's 36. But either way, um, if you watch the show 90 Day Fiance, you will see plenty guys on there. There was one guy in particular, I can't remember his name in a moment, but he was 60 years old. He was dating a Filipina who was 19 years old. You can look this up. Type in 90 Day Fiance, look at the cast, and there you'll see one of the guys on there. It's a couple where the woman is 19 years old. The guy is about to be 60. He's dating her. She's madly in love with him. Very good couple. And the only reason I say that is because you'll find that the age gap there is not really important. So you can be an older man and still start a family there. So let's say you have a divorce or something like that, and let's say that you sit in a divorce for like 20 years. So now you're 50 years old. You can immediately go to the Philippines, start your life over there, have a family, kids, everything. There actually was some passport bros that actually bought some real estate there. I believe they bought a house for like $20,000. The guy had a wife there. He pretty much had retired, so he has a retirement check coming in, and his house is paid off. So only bills he really has is things like electricity, food, that kind of thing. He had one kid with his Filipino wife. In addition to that, uh, food there is very cheap. Our dollar is very, very good there. Dollar is very, very good there. You will be surprised at the type of hotels you can get there. And of course, if you're a P for P guy, it is amazing there. All one whole strip, clubs everywhere. You can even look some of the stuff up. Clubs everywhere, Pricing very, very good. I hate to use this pun, but you get your bang for your buck there for the most part, if I can say that. But you'll be very, very surprised. And again, culture there is very similar to Thailand. As I said before, I don't believe you're going to have a problem cold approaching any women there. But just in case you do, here's why I listed Philippines a little bit higher than Thailand. One of the reasons apps work very, very good there. Even if you're in the United States, if you open your Tinder and you move it, there's a way you can kind of go across the globe and you can pick a country. Pick Philippines on there. You will immediately start getting a plethora of women texting you, wanting to meet you. Obviously, women that do massages also reaching out to you to see if you want a massage. What I'm saying is that way you already have dates lined up before you even hit the ground running. That's why if you're a guy who has had problems in the States, they say 1 in 3 guys have not had sex within the last year. Not to say you're only going there for sex or you only want a woman for sex, but what I'm saying is if you're a guy who's struggling with women in the United States, whether you're just looking for girls to date or whether you're looking for a girlfriend or wife, you definitely have to go there. You have to go there. I'm going to end it on that because this video is getting kind of long. So number 2 is the Philippines. And number 1, and a lot of people are going to disagree with it, but this is because this is my heart. And I told you again, what is the country that I go to the most? Colombia, Colombia, Colombia. So Colombia is number 1. It could be because I'm biased and it's my favorite. I met my girlfriend there. Some of the reasons I listed as number 1 because the plane ticket is very cheap and also is very close to the United States. 4 hour, 5 hour ride, depending on how close you are, to the south of the United States. So for me, coming from the Baltimore area, altogether about maybe like 9 hours because I have to take a plane from Florida into Colombia. In addition to that, man, Idala is killing it there. Idala is killing it there. Right now, it's almost 5,000 Colombia pesos to $1. Used to be 4,000. Now it's about 5,000. You'll be surprised the type of hotels you can stay in for just $30, $40. You're talking about almost like a 4-star hotel. You're willing to put in a little bit more. $50, you can get five-star hotel. Look up a hotel called Hotel Tikadama. I want you to look at it. I got a suite for $50, which means not only did I have a room for my bed and everything, but I had a room where there was couches, there was TVs. Some of the girls I met, I actually were able to bring them over and we were able to stay and have lunch in my suite. And that hotel is, I definitely recommend if you're ever there. That hotel to actually have a lot of the Telemundo, or what's it called? I believe it's Telemundo, the TV shows. They actually do a lot of their filming there at that exact hotel. It's in Bogota, Colombia. I mostly was in Bogota, but some guys like to do Medellin. I've been to Medellin, Bogota, Barranquilla. Soon I'm going to try out Cali and also Santa Marta. Cali tends to be a little bit more dangerous. You might want to be a little bit more careful. Um, but but that's the other thing about it is lots of variety. You got some Colombians that can pass for white. You got some Colombians that are a little bit darker. They have their own African Colombians. The other thing that's very, very good about it is lots of diversity, even in like the politics there. I never felt any type of racism. I felt comfortable talking to everybody. The women there are very, very sweet. Very, very easy to meet women through apps, whether it's Latin American Cupid or whether it's using Tinder. You just got to be very, very careful because there's a lot of people getting drugged there, that kind of thing, because the government there raises taxes on the people there are in survival mode. You have to be very, very careful, but definitely you need to definitely visit Colombia if you have time. Now, I don't want to keep the video too long and I'm running out of space as well. So just listen to my videos. You'll hear me talk constantly about Colombia to hear more about that. But this is my top 10 list. I'm going to park and I'm going to end it here. So number 10 was Ukraine. Number 9 was Belarus. Number 8 was Germany. Number 7 was Costa Rica. Number 6 was Peru. Numbers 5 was the DR. Number 4 was Brazil. Number 3 was Thailand. Number 2 was Philippines. Number 1 was Colombia. Now, tell me what you think in the comments about my list. You disagree? Tell me your ranking in the comments. Maybe list your ranking. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you have not. Until next time, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, signing off.